Welcome to the new Midland Memorial Hospital. My name is Marcy Madrid and I'm going to be your tour guide today. As we go through the new Scharbaurer Patient Tower, we're going to highlight some key areas of interest, some changes you should be aware of in the various departments, and some general information about the building's overall design and layout. Now, before we get started, for those of you that may not remember, this building came about after years of discussion and planning took place about our current challenges and future needs. Once the need was finally realized in 2009, this community passed a $115 million bond issue, and private citizens gave over $60 million in donations to fund this project. Then research took place among some of the nation's top hospitals, and our hospital family was invited to look at those plans and further refine them with the unique needs of our patients, our visitors, and our hospital family in mind. What we have today is the result of all that time, planning, and effort that took place over the course of several years. Now, as soon as a visitor or patient enters our facility, the testing center will be accessed directly to their left. The testing center will be a one-stop shop for a variety of outpatient exams. This is the front door to our new testing center, and it opens up to a small lobby. Now, this center will be the home of several outpatient exams, such as EKG for the heart, echovascular, blood draws, EEG for the brain or other neurological testing, and pulmonary function tests will all be conducted in this center. We are now in the back hallways, the patient care and employee areas of the testing center. It actually wraps all the way back around into the front lobby. Now, the testing center will also do direct access testing, which is those outpatient lab draws that currently take place at the West Campus. They'll still take place over there. This will be another location for that. Stress test and sleep lab studies will also be ordered through this testing center, although they will actually take place in another location. Now, back in this hallway, just outside of the back doors of the testing center, you have a direct connection to the Craddock Medical Office building. That's a direct connection for any employees or patients or visitors that need to access Allison Cancer Center, which is Texas Oncology, Permian Cardiology, or other physician offices, as well as Diagnostic Imaging Associates. As you step off the elevator in the public area throughout the tower, you'll see that it opens right up to a visitor and family waiting area. This is one of the many commonalities you'll notice throughout the Scharbaurer Patient Tower. Another commonality throughout the tower are refreshment areas that are located in those family and visitor areas just off the elevator banks. There are also 3 stairwells throughout the entire tower. There's one on each east and west end and one in the north wing. What's important to know about these stairwells is that they are emergency exit only, and that only with an employee badge will you be able to enter back into the patient floor after you've exited through a stairwell. And on floors where there are further restrictions, such as pediatrics and nursery, you'll only be able to get back in on those floors if you have badges with special permissions. Now, also throughout the tower, there's a pneumatic tube system installed throughout the tower, and it connects to some departments in the existing building, such as central supply, lab, and pharmacy. Our existing system still functions, but it doesn't connect to all the new tower areas. Finally, I'll be referencing teaming stations throughout our tour today. Teaming stations are what have been historically referred to as nursing stations. We are now starting to call them teaming stations because they're meant to be a gathering place for the entire care team to collaborate, not just nurses. On most floors throughout the tower, this north wing contains a 12-bed unit. Here on the 8th floor, this 12-bed unit will be our new total joint center. You'll notice a few big differences in the design of the rooms in our new facility compared to our current facility. These design aspects were included to meet safe by design standards, and they include things such as alcoves with viewing windows between each 2 patient rooms, there are patient lifts above every bed, no wax floors, computers at every bedside, telemetry capability throughout the whole Scharbaurer Patient Tower, continuously monitored at a central control station on the 5th floor that we'll look at here in a minute, standard universal rooms, controlled access at every building entrance with the ability to lock down the building at night, and further controlled access on 3rd and 4th floors in the pediatric unit on the 6th floor. We also have new medical equipment that includes patient safety features such as beds with exit alarms, smart IV pumps with control features on high-risk IVs, and integration with the nurse call system, the phones, the beds, and the TVs. On the long west wing of this 8th floor in our building will be a 36-bed unit for orthopedics, neurology, neurosurgery, and rooms designated for the treatment of stroke. Middle Memorial Hospital has earned the right to call itself a primary stroke center from our national accrediting body, DNV, and the state of Texas. A primary stroke center provides specialized care for those stroke victims who present and are treated here. We have specialized protocols, physicians, and nurses to care for these patients. They're assessed for disability as soon as they enter our facility and are admitted, and that will assist with limiting the devastating effects of stroke. We're proud to be able to provide this service. Now, a Save Steps philosophy was implemented throughout the tower, and that's a design philosophy that creates a more efficient workspace by centralizing all of the support space in relation to the patient rooms. That means throughout the tower, every 12 to 17 beds has its own infrastructure, including these steaming stations, clean and dirty utility rooms, medication rooms, nourishment centers, and all those other support functions that you need to operate a unit. A recent time and motion study done on our current 3-surgery unit shows an anticipated 33% reduction in steps that staff will take as a result of this new design throughout the facility. This is the new Rehab Services Gym here on the 8th floor of the tower. It was specifically placed on this floor in the tower because of the large number of rehab patients in our ortho neuro unit that would be able to use this gym. But it is for any patients throughout the tower that would need rehab. Now, as we continue walking, one of the next big landmarks that you as employees will need to know about are the employee elevators. These are purposely tucked out of public view, and they'll be used to access most of the employee areas of the hospital. This is also where most of the patient transport will take place. We are now in the employee elevator bank, and what's important to know about how these are designed is there's 2 sets of wooden doors on each side of the elevators. The set on the patient and family side will be closed for the most part to allow for the quietness and also privacy of those patients getting on and off of these elevators. The side that's on the back end, where a lot more employee traffic will be taking place and patient traffic, these doors will remain open for the most part to allow for the free flow of traffic. We won't be traveling to the 7th floor today in respective time, but the 7th floor will house our new oncology unit on the north wing and a general surgical unit on the west wing. Our next stop is a bariatric room. These rooms are located on every floor in the tower. What's unique to these rooms are that the doors are a little bit wider, the lift rails go all the way into the bathroom, and the lifts actually go up to 770 pounds instead of 550 like the other lifts. As we walk through the back hallway in this floor and into the elbow, you'll notice some features that are pretty common in this space throughout the tower. Things such as office space for staffs, there's also a staff lounge, and there's also some patient beds that are located in this area. As we pass into the pediatric unit located on the north wing of this 6th floor, you'll notice that there are restricted access doors and a keypad entrance before we go into here. This is one of those restricted access areas that you have to have special badge permissions to be able to enter in. The pediatric unit here on the 6th floor is a 12-bed unit that has 2 PD ICUs. You'll notice they have standard rooms and all the same features we've seen in the rest of the units, such as nourishment centers, a teaming station, and of course your clean and soiled utility rooms. Also on the other side of our pediatric unit, we have a treatment room where painful procedures will be able to take place, so they don't have to take place in the patient room and it can remain a safe zone. We also have a new pediatric playroom for our patients to enjoy. As we exit the public entrance to the pediatric unit, there is actually a camera just outside of the doors, and there'll be a telephone here on the wall. So if you're a member of the public or a visitor or an employee that doesn't have access to this area, you'd pick up the phone and they'll be able to see you on the video screen and decide at that time whether or not to let you back. On the west wing of this 6th floor is our new 36-bed medical unit. Our next stop is the 5th floor, and here we're just going to be stopping long enough to highlight a few unique features to this floor. To reiterate the safe by design concept, which we spoke about earlier, most of the floors and most of the rooms throughout the tower have the same basic layout, and that's really for employees that have to move through multiple units to keep them from having to relearn the layout of each unit and each room. Our critical care unit is here located on the 5th floor, and this entire unit is dedicated to critical care, which was formerly known as ICU, PCU, and CCU. The goal here is to keep a patient in the same room throughout the care process without having to change rooms, even as their acuity changes. There are some unique features on this floor. Some of the unique features of the rooms here on the 5th floor are these medical booms. This is where all the medical and respiratory gases will be housed, and these can actually be mobile with the patient, and they go 360 degrees around the room. You'll also see that the patient lift system is integrated into the booms, and there's also dialysis capability in every room on this floor. The goal here is to never have to bring the patient to treatment rather than bring the treatment to the patient. Also located on the west end of this 5th floor is the central monitoring station, which we talked about earlier. This will contain all the telemetry monitors for the entire tower. It's specifically located here on the 5th floor to be both centrally located and also to be monitored by critical care staff. Our next stop is the 4th floor, which is solely dedicated to the nursery, obstetrics, and gynecology. What's important to know about this floor is that once we are in operation, you will only be able to get off on the employee and patient elevators here on the 4th floor with special badge permissions. You'll actually have to scan your badge before the doors will actually open up here on the 4th floor, and it will only let you off if you have special permissions to access this floor. That's only here on the 4th floor. Now we'll stop right here and make a quick mention of the healing environment that has been incorporated throughout the whole design of the tower. Things like noise reductions were incorporated. We've got noise absorbent ceiling tiles, noise absorbent floors, a ceiling height variation helps with the noise throughout the facility. Also lots of natural light throughout the entire building. We've got the patient interactive TV system. Room service will be offered to patients and their visitors. And there's artwork and colors, as you'll see throughout the tower, that promote a healing environment. On the north wing of this 4th floor, we'll actually have a shell space for a future NICU, which is Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, or other future growth we may have. Also here on the 4th floor, we have the new nursery. We have a 16-bed nursery and an additional 8-bed special care nursery on the other side for infants needing further support. Our current capacity is just 16 total, so you'll see we get 8 additional beds with this new design. We'll also have lactation consultants available as a resource to our new mothers. On the west wing of this 4th floor is our new OB-GYN unit. It is a restricted access unit, so only employees that have special badge permissions will be allowed in the patient and employee areas of this unit. This is a 30-bed women's unit with standard rooms. Our patients will consist of GYN surgeries as well as postpartum mothers. Our next stop is the 3rd floor, which will be the new home to our birthplace unit. Now, although only certain approved personnel will be allowed into the patient care and employee areas of this unit, every employee will be allowed off the elevator, unlike the 4th floor. Now here on the 3rd floor, a 10-bed antepartum unit is located in the north wing on this floor, and that's also to be used in the future as our volume continues to grow. Here on the west wing of the 3rd floor is our new birthplace unit. It is also a 10-bed unit. We'll care for some antepartum patients as well as L&D triage. This is a restricted access unit, so only employees with special badge permissions will be allowed into the patient and employee areas on this unit. We do have large rooms on this unit, a teaming station, as you see right here, a spa room for moms to be able to relax and reduce stress and pain, as well as nourishment centers and some of the other infrastructure we've seen in the other units. Also here on the 3rd floor, we have a consultation room. These are common in every unit throughout the tower as a place for clinical staff and physicians to meet with patients' families and their visitors. We are now entering a surgical attire only area here on the back side of the west wing of the 3rd floor. This is where our 2 new C-section suites are located. We also have a new C-section recovery room here down this hall and an infant stabilization room. We have gained 2 new ORs, which are located just on the other side of this wall, with an additional 2 rooms that are shelf space for future use. Now again, this will all be surgical attire only area once we open, so it will only be accessible via the surgical suite. We also have a much larger OR waiting room, as you know, that opened earlier this spring, and we have gained 5 more PACU recovery rooms, which brings our new total to just over 20. What's also important to mention about the 3rd floor is that it will contain one of 4 main access points for employees and visitors from the existing building into the new patient tower. This back corridor that leads through the back hallway of the 3rd floor of the tower goes all the way into the 3rd floor waiting area of the OR in our existing building. We'll talk about the other 3 access points when we get downstairs. We're now in the tower's basement, and one of the major tenets of our tower's basement is the new data center. The data center is really the brains of the hospital, and it's containing over 30 server cabinets with a capacity to hold over 500 physical servers and all of our core networking equipment. This state-of-the-art data center is the core of many of the technologies that will be made available in the Scharbaurer Patient Tower. Our electronic health record, a medical-grade wireless network, enterprise virtual and storage infrastructure, electronic management of facility controls such as the access control and security around the hospital, and the patient entertainment system are just a few of the technologies that will be supported here. The other major tenet of the tower's basement is our new kitchen, and some of the new features of this kitchen include a room service line, 3 walk-in coolers, 1 walk-in freezer, 3 large storerooms for food, paper, and chemical products, more workspace for management, staff, and a future dietetic internship program, which is the area that we're standing in right now, and also a large catering area to support the new conference centers. Now, once the Scharbaurer Tower opens, a massive renovation project will take place in what is currently our medical staff conference room and our kitchen, and that project is actually going to yield some great new conference rooms and meeting spaces. You'll also be able to access pharmacy, lab, central supply, biomed, and housekeeping via this corridor behind me in the existing building once the tower opens. This is another one of those main 4 access points that employees will need to know about that connect the existing building to the main tower. Now, coming out here on the 1st floor off those employee elevators, you enter right into this back employee corridor. Up here to the right are the 2 new CT suites that will be located inside of our new emergency department. And the main thing to mention about this back hallway for employees is it is one of those 4 main access points for employees to get from the Scharbaurer Tower into the existing building. This corridor will take you all the way into our existing location of the Heart Institute, Radiology, and Same-Day Surgery in the main building. Now, as we pass out of this employee area into the public area, you'll note that these doors here are controlled access doors. All general access employee badges will get you through these doors, but it's not a public area anymore, so you will have to scan your badge to actually get back into this employee area. So now we're going into a public area. Continuing on, the next major touch point for our employees and visitors will be the hospital's new retail food market, the market, and the attached coffee shop, both of which are going to be open 7 days a week. As you can see, the market will offer a much more open and inviting layout with a variety of new food options, including healthy choices, a pizza station, a substation, Nikki's Swirl Shop, which will feature frozen yogurt, a baked potato soup and garden bar, the Culinary Exchange, which will feature display cooking and rotations from local restaurants beginning after spring break, Market Express, which is a variety of grab-and-go options that meet everyone's needs, the Chef's Corner, and the Grill. The market will also display nutritional information for all items, and healthy items will have a discount implied to encourage healthy choices by making it more affordable. It will also have a call-in and pickup order for staff so that employees will be able to call in their orders, pay with payroll deduct, and then pick up their orders here in the market. This will begin sometime after the new year. So similar to that employee corridor we just talked about in the employee area, this will be one of the main public corridors that will connect the Scharbaurer Patient Tower to the existing building. Patients and visitors and those coming in our main entrance will use this main public corridor to access some of our services in the existing buildings, such as same-day surgery, the Heart Institute, and radiology. Up here to the right will be our new gift shop, which will feature a wide variety of items, including basic toiletries and high-quality clothing. And now we're back to the main entrance of the new hospital. This area will be accessible all day, every day, except between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. And this is the main entrance right behind me. Now, as soon as patients and visitors enter our facility, there's a few key access points they'll notice as soon as they walk through the doors. The information desk is straight ahead. The public elevators are over to their left. The testing center is also to their left, and so is the chapel. Admitting is just to the right, and then the public lobby is also just inside the doors to the right. Now, as we're back here in the main lobby, I'd like to point out again the high ceilings, which create a nice open and inviting, airy environment, but also that means there is no second floor in the new patient tower. Now, a few things we want to point out here in the front entrance are the Abel Hangar Courtyard, which is just out front. This is one of the few places that you'll see lush landscaping in this courtyard. The landscaping combined with a donor wall feature is designed to be an area of peace and respite in which our patients and visitors can retreat. Also, right here in the front entrance, I'd like to point out some of the design aspects that will lead to our facility being designated as a LEED certified facility once we open. That's leadership in energy and environmental design, and it basically means we're going to be designated as a green certified facility. Some of those aspects are low E window panes, which means we have energy efficient film on the glass, highly energy efficient equipment in our central utility plant, a rainwater harvesting tank out in front, well water for irrigation, the use of natural products such as limestone and wood throughout the tower. We do use free cooling through our chillers, which is a term used when plant operators actually use the cold weather to cool water versus using electricity, which is why it's called free cooling. We've got automatic lights throughout the tower. Recyclable materials were collected during demolition. We have a white reflective roof, and we'll have drought-tolerant landscaping throughout our campus. Now, this is the emergency department lobby in the new tower. It opens right up to the main doors to the emergency department, and you'll see directly to the left is our new triage area. This is a pre-triage area. A patient access representative will take name and chief complaint, a tech will take vital signs, and then a nurse will actually do triage. Well, back inside the emergency department, we have what is referred to as the CDU, which is Clinical Decision Unit, and it's similar to a 24-hour observation unit where clinical staff can actually monitor disease processes before deciding whether or not to admit a patient. Just inside here where our emergency department entrance is, you'll see there's a security window right behind me. Now, if we have visitors trying to enter our facility after hours between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m., they'll have to register their visit with a security officer that will be stationed at this window, so that way they can track their visit. Also, all emergency department traffic can come in through these doors, and this security office window will be monitored 24 hours a day, and all of the security cameras around the facility will be monitored through this window. PBX will also be located just behind this office on the other side. One of the major culture changes that we've already talked about and we need to keep reinforcing is access to the new Scharbaurer Tower. This facility will be a lockdown facility. It'll be locked down at night, and most employee access points will require a badge. That means that your employee badge while you're at work will be a lot like your driver's license. You'll only get one, and it will be absolutely necessary at all times to access the different areas that you need to get to while you're at work. Also, it's important that if you cannot access an area that you feel you should have privileges to, such as pediatrics or the nursery, do not call HR and do not call security. They will not be able to help you. All access issues need to be addressed with your department manager or director, and they'll allow you or disallow you to get that access. Also, you should never let people that are unauthorized into secure access areas because you have a badge that gets you into those areas. areas. That's part of being a lockdown facility. We need to make sure we're very careful about that. The only reason you should be letting people back into secure areas is if it relates to your job or the nature of their visit and you have the authority to do so. Well, that concludes our tour today. Thank you for joining us.